and let's meet her.
It was only picked up when she was 5 that something was different. So things got a little bit fraught at home when she was 16, and her behaviour started to get really challenging. She'd scream a lot, run up and down the stairs, and she started to physically attack the little one. We were told there was a place available for her in a residential care home somewhere in the country in Sussex. To help the family cope, the only option was for her to go in the middle of nowhere, away from all her family, to somewhere in Sussex. But when Xenia did move in, it all went completely wrong. I just remember the phone calls Mum used to have from her, quite heartbreaking. And she used to say, "Mum, I want to come home, I want to come home." She used to cry. I think she didn't last longer than 3 months. And then a place became available back at Penrose House. So she came back to Penrose House, but she was a changed person. She was actually quite a completely different person. She was wild, her hair had been cut, her jet black hair would just cut. I didn't know at the time, but she had bruising and different, and my mum was the only one that saw her. She was so angry, Xenia, and out of sorts. She bit her tongue off. And they said that Health were going to come in and take over. Health, yeah. And all the residents needed to move into a different accommodation. I think that's when Xenia went to Bethune Road. And it wasn't the ideal place. The flat wasn't big enough to accommodate three tenants. And another situation built up with her teeth. She got a tooth infection. She had to have her teeth removed. It all went wrong because she wouldn't swallow the antibiotics, and her gums got infected. And the staff, it just went completely wrong. All the staff was overstressed. They had to section her again, and the only way to get her to take her medication was to actually sedate her, to C-section her in her own room, and that was really quite awful actually. I remember when I visited her that day, she was quite, how can I put it? In sort of limbo.
Then we've got a very, very specific tool to measure the work that we're doing. So we enter some information on the computer from daily activity plan, and that will go into a graph for us to analyze what's been happening over the months. We've been working with Xenia, like I say, for many, many years. And originally people used to say, "Oh, she's been difficult today," or "That's difficult." But we didn't really have any tangible to show what was actually happening. So that's why we started monitoring on a daily basis the level of activity that she was engaged with and the level of changing behaviour.
There was lots of issues whenever she was out in the community, like slapping herself, slapping staff members, even slapping members of the public. Change in her behaviour has been brought about due to a much more person-centred approach towards working with Zanula, in terms of changing the staff rota to suit her needs, to avoid having a handover during the daytime, and to ensure that she has the same staff during the day, which is what she prefers. Also having staff who she chooses to work with, and again having support plans which are up to date and meet her daily needs, and also improving our communication with Zanula using objects of reference, using symbols and photographs and IT equipment.
I can't remember what year it was, but they said that they've identified Xenia as being a good candidate to have shared ownership.
After 3 years, she actually found a flat, which she liked and her family liked. Since she moved to her new flat, her behaviour has changed quite radically in terms of less slapping, becoming much more confident around people.
They all work the same way. There's 5 or 6 of them, and they know Ksenia's ways. They know how she communicates because she's non-verbal. She needs people that understand her. Gradually, because of the way that they've communicated with her and given her choices, she's more calmer. It's reassuring for us as a family to know that Ksenia's in good hands and she's safe and secure and happy. You know, if you're not happy, things aren't going to go well, are they?
So that's Xenia. As I said, I've known her for 20 years, met her in 1992. And you will have heard Xenia's sister refer to, and then Hilt took over. Well, actually, I used to run Hilt, and Hilt is now part of Advance, so that's how come the continuity over 20 years. I can't say, looking back, that we really knew what we were doing supporting somebody like Xenia. And we got to 1999, and when we started really looking at what was going on, this is what we found. And we got to the stage where what was the CQC of the day said basically put her out of the borough and work with somebody easier. And what I continue to see in 2013 is people being put out of borough because they're too difficult. And something clicked in 1999, and we took a good breath in and we looked at how we could support her properly. It was a real tipping point. Do you let somebody go, or do you stick with it and really learn how that person needs to be supported? And what we got was an absolute commitment from a very small pool of people who really wanted to make it work. Obviously, her family, her sister was one of those people. But there were other people in that pact. Within our organisation, we found out the people who really, really wanted to make it work, the people who didn't reject people. We found a commissioner who really wanted to find a way of finding a local solution to somebody when there wasn't really the knowledge around at the time about what would work. And we also work with the Tizard Centre and continue to this day. And what I've really learned over the years is that just having good people isn't really enough. Your staff can have the best attitudes in the world. They can be really kind people, they can really care, your managers can be really good managers, but when you're working with people with challenging behaviour, you need the right tools for the job. You need very, very specific skills, right from the way that you finance a service through to what Xenia experiences every single day. So we got a pool of people who had a common purpose. We started putting in place some of the tools for the job, and some of those that you can see in the middle are really, really important to people like her. And we got some good results. I have to say, we got some really good results, and the level of challenging behaviour that we were seeing really reduced significantly, and we all felt really, really good. We got up to about 5 years ago, and we started again to look at, have we really got it right? Is it really what's working for her, and is it the best that we can do? And at that point, she was sharing a flat with one other person. And I think what really dawned